Hello, hello, hello. Steve Sipress here. Welcome out there in Facebook Live land to all the people that are watching and also on the replay that I'm putting onto my blog, my podcast, YouTube. We'll go out on Twitter, multiple Facebook pages all over the place. I hope people see this. I have an extremely special day of which else the guy has done. His name is Rob Anspach. And he is here with me. I agree they're able to see me while I'm talking, and then he'll jump in. But Rob, thanks for being.
Thanks for having me.
Very good. I think you can see us both on the screen at once. So anyway, let me get a little housekeeping out of follow me here. Know that I share and today having a fantastic authoring aid that I have with a. And so this is a very strange book that I know nothing about. First of all, that's not technically how you spell the animal, rhino. But there is a little picture of the rhino. So it makes it into my collection and goes up on the shelf with the rhinos. But this is a wild book. This is some kind of an industrial safety guide, which tells you all about forklifts and cranes, saws, and retractables, and being a designated operator and a lookout, tag out, and trench inspection, trench useful, and construction access and egress and air hoses, and you got to be kidding me. I know nothing about anything in here. I don't even understand who it's to, why it's published, what's going on with it, but what I do know, has a rhino on the cover of. Let's get to my fantastic guest, Rob Anspach, who is, I got to tell you a little story. I mean, he is the author of a book. That on the screen, I'm getting some message that I'm having connection.
I think we froze up.
We'll see it on the replay. But who's the experience is fully about this one arrived April 15th, a year of 2015. Been here a little over a year. And I remember it arriving like the day before we left, day or two before we left. And I'm like, has anybody ever moved like out of state? Like there was a lot to do, a lot of packing, a lot of boxes. The movers are coming, all kinds of craziness. And I really thought I had taken that book still sealed in the envelope. I knew what was in it. So the return address, and that was the book he promised to send me. I couldn't wait to tear into it. And I really believe that I placed that into the box that I had called my current office box. So it had my pens, papers, all the stuff I'm dealing with my current clients. I really thought I had it in there. But evidently I did not. However, still to this day, I have not found it yet. But like many people maybe that move, and it's almost a year and a half later, I still have some stuff in boxes. So I still believe I'm going to find this thing. And I just recently looked when Rob came out with his next book. That was a big signal to me, like, holy crap, I still can't find the last one. This sucks. I gotta look at it. That was Lessons from the Business Dojo, Lessons from the Dojo. And I'm like, I follow along with Rob's Facebook page. If you don't, you got to find it. And I'm sure Rob will tell you how. And like always posting great wisdom in there. And I'm like, where's that book? So I still predict I will find it. I went on another crazy search, tearing into some boxes the other day when I saw that this book was coming out. Couldn't find it yet. Obviously, throw it out. And I really don't think I did. I think it's somewhere. I just cannot find it. So I apologize to you, Rob, that I know you kept asking me, like, have you read it? I mean, your other books. I mean, I take a photo with it. I post a review. I spread the word. And I'm like, I'm so embarrassed to tell you that I know I got the thing, and I can't even find it. I mean, it's just such a miserably embarrassing horror story. So right here, for the whole world to see, it allows to see, I believe I will find it, then I will take photos with it, make a video with it, post a review of it, and do all that good stuff and tell everybody about it. But for now, I can't wait because you've got your next book coming out, which is all for people like me. This is for social media for the boomers and the over 50, and holy cramoly, did you read our minds or something? Like, we definitely need this book. So, first of all, thank you for writing it. And second of all, you got to tell me, like, what made you write this book?
I was going to write a book about the millennials on social media. And I thought, who's going to read it? So I figured, you know what? Let's go with the older generation because they're the ones that have more difficulty with social media, with technology, and they're always afraid that they're going to break something. So I reached out to a gal, and that's all her market is over 50. And I said, Lori, I had this concept for a new book. Do you want to partner with me on it? And she didn't even hesitate. She said, yes. She says, I've read your other books. I want to do it. I said, great. So over a couple months.
I love it. And now I haven't met Lori in person, but I got to tell you, like, you and Lori, unless my eyes are completely deceiving me, like neither one of you guys is like over 50. Like, where do you get off, writing a book to us? Over 50. You're not even one of us.
Lori is 51. I'm 48. So.
Oh my goodness.
This book isn't even for me, but it's for.
Who knew?
It's for the people that, hey, I'll be that age in 2 years. So in 2 years, I get to read the book again. But, a lot of my clients are in that bracket, and they're lawyers, they're doctors, and they're coming to me for social media for help. They don't know how to do this, and this is that entrepreneurs for the longest time used a phone book, throw an ad in there, wait another year with their fans, friends, and followers, and they don't know how. So, to break down this book into simple steps, it's all about your story. It's all about how you became who you became, and to convey that story to your tribe, to your audience, and let them understand what your passion is, to let them know that you have a legacy outside of your business that maybe they want to get involved in to help you, to get that message across. And that's what it's all about, really. The title, No Experience Necessary, is the fact is that we all have stories that we want to tell. And it's those stories that will entice people to want to know more about us. And once they know more about us, they're going to trust us. They're going to be more than willing to shell out more money for us or for our services because they feel that they can bond with us. So it's not necessarily.
All right. Now, here's the thing. I have a ton of questions to ask you, and I'm hoping anybody that's watching on live, feel free, please post your questions or comments or anything in there for Rob, and I have a feeling that he won't put something you said. Where you said, I'm just looking on my other monitor here to make sure I'm not missing any comments coming. I got to push back on that a little bit. Thing to me, I got to pull teeth to get a story out of them. Don't my prospects and clients know I'm doing a live interview? The phone, systems, and I hear things all the time like I'm just another heating and air guy. And I'm like, well, why do you think people use you? What makes you different? I guess they just call the closest guy. So if I'm the closest guy in a book or, my website or whatever, that's how I get work. And they're missing out, as you, of course, would attest. And that's stop doing it and be your only reason that you think people will do business with you. We all have stories connect, tell stories. But you're saying, Rob, you there?
I am. And, this is the joy of using technology sometimes is that I get to experience every other third word that you said. So I apologize to any of the listeners.
Yeah, but that's why you wrote this book. See, this is actually very fitting that I have you on here because this is our experience. I'm thinking had to be something I did. Typical me.
I think it's the internet connection is not too great, but that's okay. And going back to your when you invite people into your home to do work, a lot of times they share stories with you. And then you say, well, you should write a book about that. And they're like, well, I don't have stories to tell. But they've just entertained you for the last hour fixing your appliance or your plumbing or something. And you're like, write a book. And they're like, I don't know where even to start. You start with your stories. And those stories are the very essence of those stories are going to be the thing that entertains somebody else. And so whether you have a book like this, whether it's or even a smaller book, just the anecdotes that you share with people are going to be that thing that gets them to bond with you better.
And this they should do. You're talking about writing a book, but you're teaching us how to do that using social media.
Right. And the thing is instead of slamming your audience with ads constantly on Facebook or Twitter, instead of saying buy from me, just tell a story about, one of your clients, how you helped them. What got you into like the plumbing business or, the marketing business and when people start to read those stories, they're going to say, wow, I didn't know that about you. I didn't know that you spent, 20 years doing something else before you became this. I wasn't always. I spent 20 years owning a carpet cleaning business. And you're saying, well, what the hell does carpet cleaning have to do with marketing? It's a complete 180. Yes, it is. And this is my story and how I got there. And people are like, wow, okay, tell me more. Learning from you, Steve, and learning from Joe Polish and learning from Dan Kennedy. These were the guys that inspired me to stop being just a carpet cleaner and to become a storyteller, to become, something more than what I was before. And now I'm an author. Now I'm a speaker. Now I'm doing things that, to me, I'm just a teacher. I'm teaching people how to, make money with their own story, And so if I can do it, if a guy that did carpet cleaning for 20 years can do it, anybody watching can do it.
All right, extremely overly humble of you, because my goodness, that was extremely on the humble meter. But seriously now, Rob, first of all, this whole, I don't want to get off on a rant, but this whole just a carpet cleaner, I love carpet cleaners. I don't think they're just anything or anyone that does anything, because everyone knows that my toolbox, a screwdriver and a hammer, and I don't even know what else. There's a few nails or something in there. I love people that can do stuff. But second of all, you're so much more than just a teacher, because you also, or am I wrong? You take on clients and you actually help manage their social media for them?
I help manage their social media. I write their blogs. I write their books if they want their books. I help them with their SEO. We help them become trustworthy online. They should call this Be Freeze instead of Be Live. Technology is awesome when it works right. When it doesn't work, not so much. But that's the joy. And I think that, if anybody can still hear me, I'm seeing Steve all frozen here. But see, this is the joy. This is the hiccups of life. And you just got to roll with it. And, I think that, I think that's the frustration that, a lot of entrepreneurs, especially over 50, have, is that they use this technology and it freezes and they don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. They think that they broke something. It's very hard to break social media. So, whether you're frozen in time on a video, it doesn't matter. Continue to share that story. Continue to keep rolling. Because if you panic, people are going to say, what the heck is going on? Just keep talking. People will find it. They'll find you interesting. They'll find you, if you don't panic, then they'll just keep on going. So, but I appreciated Steve freeze framing there for a little bit. It was great.
If it's me and technology, it's not going to run perfectly smoothly. So I love what you're saying there. Is whatever, just roll with it. Life goes on. We couldn't even have dreamed of such a thing years ago. And I guess we could have done this interview by a phone call, which that technology is pretty solid. And then I could have played that out and put it up onto my blog and podcast and whatever as a replay later on. But I figured, man, this Facebook Live allows interaction. And look, I'm seeing all this stuff coming in here. So can I share some of the comments coming in? I don't even know if Rob can hear me. Gotta love the technology. Well, Facebook Live video, didn't this just start within the past year or so? At least that's when I found out about it.
And we talk about that in the book. And I don't want to keep saying, hey, buy my book. But Facebook Live.
Well, I do. Buy his book.
Yeah. Facebook Live allows you to be human in front of your audience. They get to experience who you are, what you do. They get to see your facial features. If you didn't shave, they get to see your haircut. They get to see you make mistakes. And that's the beauty of being, is all about interaction. So whether we freeze frame, whether we mess up, doesn't matter. They get to experience us right now in the raw. And I think that's the problem with people, is that for a long time it was get behind a camera, do your video, go take it to an editor, make it perfect, throw it up on YouTube. Facebook eliminates all that hassle, and you get out there, you say your message, and people are like, yeah, I believe in him. Or, that was just really awful. But you know what? You dive in, you make mistakes, and you continue to learn. And here's the thing, is that if you're over 50 and you hate technology, you hate, Facebook or any of these other things, all you have to do is master it for about 6 to 8 months and study it. And you'll be the guy that's teaching this stuff. It's not rocket science. It really isn't.
I never thought about that. I shudder to think that someday I'd be teaching this stuff because here's the deal. As soon as I think, and this is another question of mine, and I will get to the questions coming in, but as soon as I think that I'm mastering, I never thought I'd close to mastering anything about social media, but as soon as what do you think? Of course, it changes. So, here's the latest, newest thing, or this newest website you got to go, or this or that. And I think that's the way it's designed. And so I will never, I believe personally, feel social media. I certainly won't feel that I'm ever somebody to teach it. Like, I just don't feel that way, or am I way off base?
Well, you've been doing these videos every day for a while now, so you're starting to master video. You've taken that step beyond what others are doing. You've stepped out of your comfort.
I'm sorry for everyone that sucks at it. I've been doing these every day for about 2 months, and as you can see, I still don't know what the heck I'm doing. So that's my mantra is, and I think it's similar to what you're saying, is just go do it. It's not about being slick and professional and perfect and whatever. If it was, then obviously I couldn't do it. So I just saw enough of my client out there and doing Facebook Live videos, and I was like, I don't want to be. Why don't I do that? Why? And I didn't even read all the reasons why, but I felt some of the time like to connect with the audience, and instead of everything out all the time, we do this live video, and I love the interactivity comments coming in, which I do want to get to, but I really appreciate your compliment there, but I never thought of myself as mastering this, far from it. And second of all, like I said, I really believe that as soon as I think of it, they'll throw something new up, and suddenly one has to go to, or Facebook will do something, or they'll undo something. But I'm getting the point that what you're saying and what your book must be all about is, of course, it's always you'll roll with it, and by thinking that you're gonna tell us that just do it is better than, I can't even imagine waiting till I've mastered it without even doing it, or waiting till it's solidly something and I feel totally comfortable. You're saying is I'm going to feel comfortable doing it by getting out and doing it, by stumbling and bumbling and screwing it up, and eventually I'll feel comfortable at it. Is that right?
That you just hit it right on the head. I mean, and I think that's the simplest part of this whole social media thing, is that we need to go out there. We need to make mistakes. We need to tell people about our failures. And I think that
you have to give a little visual there.
Well, Joe Sugarman is one of the biggest storytellers when it comes to failures. He tells people that he's failed most of his life, and it was just that one success of blue blockers that made him the millions of dollars. Well, if you're comfortable telling people about your failures, then that becomes your story. That becomes your brand, and people are like, "Wow, okay, yeah, he failed." It becomes a teaching moment. If you get on social media every day and tell people, whether it be in video, whether it be in your posts, and you're just entertaining people, you're educating.
Hello, I lost Rob. Back in, but I thought my internet connection was bad. I don't know what's going on over there. Let me get to some of the comments. Comes back because the latest crew says Rob Anspach is a rock star.
Well, I'm here by myself.
Michelle. And now hopefully it comes back in here. So thanks, Rob. He feels you are just, I don't know if you're doing this on purpose, but you're making me feel fantastic. I actually feel social media expert on here, and things are so. I'm building confidence and feeling fantastic with this. I took the opportunity while technology was chasing you away momentarily to let's look at some of these comments coming in. So first one here from Phil Brakefield. I tell my clients if I could put together the biggest grossing Led Zeppelin show in history, get them some personalized. Okay, not sure what that means, but I think what Phil's saying is that he put on the biggest grossing Led Zeppelin show in history, which is great. And now he gets them some personalized calendars. Okay, Tim Johnson, what is up, my brother? Probably alluding to some of the freeze frame technology mess ups going on. Thank you. Michelle says she loves Rob's freeze frame face. I should think about faces I'm making or things I'm doing here for when that freeze frame comes up and I look like a fool and what you said ever. Which of course didn't point this like a mime showing yes, no? I don't even know if maybe Rob's not still there.
No, I completely missed what you were saying. It froze up on my end,
sorry. Let me try and get it in real quick. Then we're getting a comment from Michelle who says her favorite video is in 2009. So I think that goes to what you're saying is that even a video we record, it lives forever on the internet. Just get out and do it. This is 8 years later, and somebody remembers a video I shot. Uh-oh, that didn't work either.
Mm-hmm. Well, video is very powerful, and what didn't work?
No, I was thinking, could you still not hear me? This whole thing. Hello. Maybe I should get a magic marker or a Sharpie and just write out everything I'm going to say on a piece of paper. Yeah, I was just saying that I have a comment of somebody loved the video I did 8 years ago. So that goes to what you're saying. Get out there and start getting on social media. People will remember it even 8 years later. Us are hilarious, Michelle now says, which I asked you to leave my looks out of this, but the way this thing is going, I agree. Because who's on first, what's on second was never nearly as hilarious as this train wreck of an interview, which I'm apologizing to you for, Rob, because I invite, hey, let's do a live video and I'll promote the heck out of your book and it'll be awesome, and then just slightly overpromise because this is a horrendous nightmare. So, I would like to do
I think this is classic when it comes to what we're talking about, because you get on social media and most people don't have the experience. They have to learn it, and they're afraid of breaking something. Well, we're not really breaking anything, but it's just not working the way we want. That's okay,
I have to apologize. I'm laughing so hard I'm crying. I'm laughing at myself so hard that while you're talking about the main point of your book is how boomers and over 50s suck and are afraid of social media and whatever because if it all screws up, whatever. And here it is. I should be on the cover of your book. Like, this is exactly how it's done / not done. This is what Rob's talking about. Like, people like me don't know what the heck I'm doing, and I thank anyone that's in the comments or liking or whatever putting up with this nonsense and even encouraging it. So, and yet you're telling me, Rob, that this is good. Should I plan to do this? I should plan to have crappy internet and mess up the video and do everything wrong?
Hey, if they that's a good engagement, then that's okay. And the funny thing is people are still commenting. They want to know. So, regardless of it's like these people are driving down the highway and we just car pile up and they just cannot pull themselves away from the wreck. It's like our two cars are like
head on the highway, and they're thinking, like, how did that guy get turned all the way around and hit that? Or how did he go over the thing and under his other car? Like, that's, I did something. I'm destroying the whole thing. And Rob tells me this is what you're supposed to do. I guess I'm still laughing so much I'm crying. But does anyone actually have like a question for Rob? Like, he is, unlike me, he's busy. He's an important person. He has things to do. He magnanimously agreed to come on here and do this live interview. And instead of just everybody what a screw up I am with technology, do we have a question for Rob? Maybe someone who is an or heck, even a millennial, anybody at all, comments or problems or issues or goals or anything to do with social media. I mean, obviously, you got to go get his book, but in the meantime, you got him right here. Anyone have a question to ask? I do not trust that I am able to get through a question with the technology, even though. All right. I'm going to attempt to ask another question. Let's see, Facebook and whoever lets me get a question out. Can you share with us a story, unlikely, I'm afraid of social media type person that you have been able to help? I just came to you and said, I don't believe you can do it. There's no way. I'm afraid of it. I'm terrible at it. I'll never do it. And now he or she is a ringing success story.
When I first wrote the Share book, I had included a blurb from Christopher West. Christopher West is a big speaker in the religious arena. And he had actually had somebody else doing his social media for him. And I said, Chris, what are you doing? I said, it doesn't look like anybody posted for you for months. He said, yeah, I wasn't happy with them, so I got rid of them. I said, okay. I said, let me take it over for you for a couple months and see what we can do. And so I took it over for him, showed him what, simple steps he could do. And he, in a matter of a few months, he increased his fan base. Well, that was August of 2013. He had 13,000 fans, which was pretty good. Well, now, this is 2017. He has close to 100,000 fans. So in 4 years, his fan base grew about 6 times. So, if he can do it, then anybody can do it. But here's the thing about social media. You can't just post once a week. You got to post at least once a day. And people are saying, well, I don't have time for that. What do I say? What do I tell people? The easiest thing to do if you're going to be posting once a day is to theme it out. Make Mondays Motivation Mondays. Make Tuesdays Testimonial Tuesdays. Wednesdays could be, Wacky Wednesday, or post a video. Thursday could be, Transformation Thursday or Throwback Thursday. Friday could be, a blog post. Saturday, Social Saturday. Post something. But even on Sunday, post a weekend wisdom, a simple quote. If you theme out your days, it makes your social media experience so much easier because you're not trying to force yourself to come up with a post. Theming it out, you've already said, okay, this is what I'm posting on Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And now it becomes a no-brainer. And social media becomes easier for you to do. And so now you can say, well, okay, I'm going to come in Monday morning. Bam. I just scheduled my whole week's worth of social media. I'm done. I'm going to go enjoy life now. And now it's working for you, and you don't have to sit in front of the computer all day long. So, instead of making... I
love it. Great advice.
Instead of making it complicated, make it easy for yourself because, granted that we all have these things and we all go around and maybe we go on the golf course and work but not everybody wants to carry cell phones around. Not everybody wants to do Facebook on their phones. But if you schedule all your posts, at least they're going to get out there and hit your tribe and share your stories. And if life becomes easier for you, especially people over 50, because
and who doesn't want that?
people over 50, they hate these things as much as they hate their computers. So you might as well do it easy.
Yeah, so I love that advice. And on Wednesday, I do this every Monday, every Friday, at least 3 or 4 days of the week. And I love what you just said. You just verified what a fleeting thought that went through my head, and now I'm actually going to do it. I got to theme it out so it takes all the pressure off. I mean, I do have a long list of things I want to talk about, and things come up in the news all the time, but it's got to make it easier to theme it out. And then I'm just thinking which one of the things I wrote is going to fit into whatever I do every Thursday or whatever I do every Friday or whatever. I love it. That's fantastic advice. So
Thursdays, especially for as we get older, we have all these young photos of ourselves in stupid situations. Share them on Thursdays. It's a throwback Thursday. People love to see a younger Steve Sipress with hair. They like to see a thinner Rob Anspach. They like to, they want to see stuff like that. They want to know more about you, and,
Well, let me ask you a question. I don't have, when I was a kid, people weren't walking around with phones in their pocket 24 hours a day. So there aren't a lot of photos of me when I had hair, unfortunately, or any of those things. And I wish there were more, but I mean, I might be able to do that for a couple of months or so, but I'm not going to even have 52 of them. That won't even last a year.
Right.
So how do I overcome that?
Well, you can also, post an old ad that you wrote. Maybe you did a sales letter. Maybe you did, throw something up there, even an older video. I mean, Michelle mentioned that her favorite video of yours is 9 years old. You can share those old videos over and over and over again.
This is fantastic advice. This is fantastic advice to somebody or anybody, me, whoever has writer's block or video block, whatever you would call it, or it just is lazy or doesn't want to work as hard or whatever, like me. This is all great. Let's have some kind of shortcut, lazy, call it whatever you want, easier way, and people will like it. This is like Phil mentioned. Right, find 8 of our songs we did years ago and just put out greatest hits volume whatever. I got to go to the beach. Why don't we do that? Mm-hmm. That was great advice. I love it. I'm so glad that your book is soon coming to me. So that was great. Okay, let's go back to the questions, see what else we got. Here's a good one. Now Michelle is asking, how would you, and I almost can guarantee you she's not asking me. So let me ask you, Rob, how would you use this replay video? Actually, I will tell you how I use it, and then you tell me the right way to do it. So we'll put it up onto YouTube. We'll put it up, see the Vinyl Daily podcast, which is on iTunes, and also on that website, is audio only. Go there. And to my list that I did this interview, and with links to see it, I have about 20 different Facebook pages, but I put this up I put it up in a couple of other groups, and now, put it out on a Thursday as a throw to the good old day when I did this interview. So I will use it. Now, instead, what's the right way to do it?
Well, you could do all those things, but you can also have it transcribed and turn it into a blog post. And now you got people coming to your website reading about the interview you just did. They can go to the video, watch it. They can go to your iTunes and listen to it. One video can be made into 4 or 5 products. And, you're constantly educating people on what you're doing. You can take clips of this video and just do take the answer, take the question. Bam, that's your video. 1 question, 1 answer. And it makes it a little easier. Now, granted, you're going to have to edit it. But now we're going into a little bit of a search engine optimization here, because if someone's looking for tips on how to do social media and you've clipped it down into the basic elements, throw it on your YouTube channel or your blog, people type that in, and now they're finding your website because you have these tips that you're offering. And yeah, it came from an interview, but they don't know it.
Facebook, daily Facebook Live videos, I also can take these clips and I can put them into my email sequences when I get new prospects or new clients or people join my email list and they get to know me and like me and trust me, and I get to help them out with tips. And instead of saying, watch this whole 15-minute thing or whatever, I can say, here's 1 minute and teach them this. I can put it into there. And another thing you said I've thought about a lot of doing the transcription, because I do that for interviews when I put them in my print magazine that I mail out to people. So I could transcribe these, and then I would also have a book. I mean, I've been doing these for 2 months. So there's 60 of them times 10 minutes, take out all the fluff, and you still have at least 60 times 3 minutes, which transcribe. That's brilliant.
You know, it's like I said, it's not rocket science. It just takes some time. And, you know, once you develop your own little system, you know what you have to do. So if you're, you know, in my book, I use a little bit of examples. Say you're a clockmaker, okay? And that clockmaker wants to let people know how he fixes clocks. He can take a video instructing them on how to take the bits and pieces and whatnot. And so if they want to do it at home to fix their clock, they can. Now he can put it on his blog and say, hey, these are the steps you have to take to fix it yourself. Here's the video. Here's the book. Here's this. Now you have all these things that are educating, you know, your tribe. I say tribe, I mean your community, your fans, friends, and followers. And eventually you take all that and you make yourself a book. You know, this book, the Ask Dr. A series that I co-wrote with Dr. Alvarez. What we did is we took his YouTube videos. He has a whole series called the Ask Dr. A Show, and every 26 episodes becomes a new book. So we have this one. We have volume 2. And I'm currently helping him write volume 3. So you're repurposing all the content, and people are buying these books. Yeah, they could be watching it on YouTube for free, but this becomes his calling card. This becomes his business card. It becomes something that people now have in front of them that they can read and take home with them. You know, it's
well, great point. I mean, and even if they're not buying them, which I'm sure he, especially since he's talking to you, he knows he's not looking to get rich by selling. To give out, he, you know, has patients come in, or he goes to a chain or anywhere else, somewhere, or holds a seminar. He's a get, you know, interviewed now on local radio or in local publication, column for his local paper, and all he has to do is take one of his transcribed videos once a month and send it off to him. And so it's not even about selling the books, right? It's about being an author and having the books. And even though they're telling people how to do without them, it's also telling people like me that don't want to do anything themselves, like, this guy knows what he's talking about, and I want to hire him.
You know, every time you write a book, it boosts your authority. You know, people want you to be on these videos. They want you to be, you know, in film and in print, you know, whatever. You know, granted, yeah, we're not going to make $1 billion with our book, but we're going to help people. And those people are going to want us to, you know, consult for them. And your experience, even though you start out with no experience, as the title of the book, it's those stories that you have of yourself that you share with others, and people say, wow, you know what? I know you just started out, you know, in your sewing business or your this business or your plumbing business, but those stories that you have, let's get them in a book. Let's get them out there. And now your authority became, you know, expanded. You know, Steve, you could write, I know you have hundreds of stories that could be a brilliant book, and people would clamor to get your book. You know, I love listening to your stories now. And I think that they're, you know, an educational piece that young entrepreneurs need to have, you know, to become better at what they're doing. Sure, you know, this video may not be the highest quality, but it's going to teach somebody something. They're going to get a nugget of information out of it, and they're going to say, hey, I like this. I want to be, the next Steve Sipress, or I want to learn how to write like Rob Anspach, or I want to do this. It all starts with one person sharing their story.
What? Did I freeze up again?
Somebody froze up.
Yeah. But I got the gist of that, and hopefully the viewers did too, or the listeners, before technology got the best of us again. But man, that was brilliant, and I got to thank Michelle for that question and you for that answer, because it's just something I ought to think about it a lot. Like, and lots of business owners, and they think, where am I going to come up with the content for a book? Where am I going? And I am, by doing these Facebook Live videos, I am putting out content that I can repurpose, that I can into various different ways of delivering it. So if you get on to anyone watching, any business owner, certainly there's some question that you've heard over and over in your business that you can tell a story or have an answer to, or solve a problem or answer the common question in 5 or 10 minutes, help people out. And if you just go undo that, you don't even have to be like me and do one a day. If you go on like once a week and just talk for 5 or 10 minutes about this problem, after you've done this for a few months, guess what? You have a lot of that content is out there. Like Rob says, find someone to transcribe it, find someone to then put that together and edit it, find someone to just put up a cover together, and like you have yourself a book, which you didn't even realize. Holy crap, I didn't realize I had enough content to fill a book. You do if you can talk for 5 or 10 minutes once a week about your business. Soon enough, you have a book. Throw in some big full-page illustrations or something, or double spaces, or use, large margin. Have a book even sooner, right? Or kind of giving away some tricks of the trade.
No, I think everybody needs to know that. And Steve, let me ask you a question, because you've been doing these videos now for a while. How did you feel the first couple times that you got on these? Did you feel frustrated? Did you feel uneasy? Did you feel nervous?
I'm sorry that I don't remember. No, I think I felt triumphant. I remember I felt triumphant when the first one was done, and I actually watched the replay on Facebook and saw that, holy crap, that actually went. It actually happened. So I don't even know if anyone was watching it. I don't remember anything I said. I'm sure it couldn't have been anything great. But I do remember a feeling of accomplishment. I'm like, holy crap, that worked. And so it gave me confidence to go do another one. I think I remember that. And I'm sure all those other things. I'm sure I was wary and nervous and wondering if it was, whatever. But I mean, I guess what I figured was, if it sucks so bad, then I guess you could just delete the post anyway. After I see how this thing came out, like, I know I'm going to feel like doing that, but since you have been pretty, not pretty, you've been absolutely straight about how let them see all your flaws and shortcomings, which with me is very easy to do. Of course, I'm going to leave it up here, but I know that partly gave me some confidence in my first couple. Was like, if they really are so bad or whatever, I just delete it and start over. I'll just delete one and do it the next day or something. But it was a great moment for me that I said from day one, and I guess if I went and replayed and hear, and I felt like some kind of relief and feel great about it. And another good point is, I don't remember whatever topic I talked about. I don't even remember if the people watching remember the topic, but they have told me since then and over and on the videos, like, hey, I love your videos. They're funny, or you're just funny looking, or whatever. Or your funny red Hawaiian shirts you wear every day are hilarious, or whatever it is. And it's doing what you're suggesting. I'm connecting with my followers, fans, prospects, clients, whatever, and organize. I can put into other forms of communication, especially a book, which is a permanent form of communication that will boost and do a world of good for me. So I don't know if that's the question you're asking, but I'm super happy, glad when I thought a lot about clients who have said, just get out there, fall off the bike. It's the first time. Just get it done.
And I think that's the main stopping point for most people, is they're afraid to just get behind the camera. They're afraid that, people are going to see the mess up. And I tell people, let people see you mess up, because that way your fear is over. You have nothing to fear the next time you do it. You've already made your mistakes. Just get out there and get behind the camera. People will see. And the thing is, what is fear anyway? I mean, it's just an emotion. Get behind that camera and just start telling your story. And they'll be just like you, Steve. They'll be triumphant. They'll be saying, hey, wow, I did this. This is great. You're not going to break anything. You might have freeze ups. You might have some technical glitches, but that's something else. That's something that you can't control. You're not going to be able to physically break anything. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about messing up. Just do it. And
great advice. And about the fear, that reminds me, I spent 2 years as a Tony Robbins trainer. People, pretty much everyone's kind of familiar with. And I remember I'm not a scientist, but it was something about how physiologically the body has the same exact responses to fear and excitement. And it's only your mind that is telling you which one it is. Mm-hmm. But you have sweaty palms, you get a little nervous, you get on edge, your eyes dart around. That happens when you're either in fear or excitement. So you might as well just tell yourself, anytime you're feeling that it's fear, you might as well just tell yourself, this is exciting. And I use the analogy to a roller coaster. And I don't, maybe he did, I don't know if I came up with that, but you can say, I'm terrified of going however many miles an hour down a slim track, on a thing that seems out of control. Or you can say, I can't wait to get on that roller coaster, how exciting it's going to be. Not when it's going up the thing, like, come on already, are we going up? Like, no, it's really exciting when it's careening around a turn and you think you might fall off, or it's going down so fast that you're flipping over, you think you're out of control, you might fall out. Like, you can either be feared of that or you can have excitement from it. So I love what you're saying. Might as well think whatever and just say this. And speaking of glitches, apparently...
We should call this Glitch TV.
Maybe I should. But it goes back to what I was saying earlier, and I can see that we almost at the end of the 1 hour you unbelievably magnanimously gave us here, is that I was saying earlier that as soon as you think you get the hang of something, Facebook changes it. So as soon as I would go off calling this Steve's Daily Glitch TV, of course Facebook would fix the technology, and then it would no longer be any glitches. So maybe I should do that, actually. Come to think of it, if I, by naming this Glitch TV, could therefore be some kind of catalyst to Facebook fixing the technology for everybody, I would take full credit for that. However, so we only have 4 minutes left. I'm going to go long ago, two clowns with their glitches. They can go on if they want, but I have a life. So now Michelle is saying she remembered because I was clever. And so it's good to know that at some point in my career I was clever. I don't remember what I did or whatever, but that somebody remembers that 8 years later. And actually, Michelle's not the only one. Other people come up to me sometimes when I'm at seminars or events or say, I remember such and such video. Or I just happened last week. I was at Icon, which is where I met you. The one time I've met you in person was right here in Phoenix at Icon
13.
What was that? 5? When?
It was Icon 13 because right after that I wrote
13.
your book, and I was kind of nervous about sending you the share book. I wanted to get your opinion on it, and but you loved it, and that was great.
You were like, I was nervous to send it to you, and I'm like, first of all, what I am well known as No BS Steve, Straight Talk Steve, and so you were nervous that I might. Is that this one? But is that this book? This is the one you're talking about?
No, this was that was
another one I have here.
Yeah, that was share book. Yeah, that was the. So I wrote that one right after I was inspired by Icon 13.
Well, if you were tearing this apart, about the only thing I tore up every page because I highlighted, underlined, asterisked, pretty much something on every page of this thing, and then went and implemented it. This was 27 different think I implemented at least 20 of them. And there's genius. This one got 3 asterisks, whatever the heck that paragraph was all about. So that was telling myself, like, you absolutely better do this one. So this one has arrows and underline and highlighter. So hopefully, that's a great lesson. Like, face your fear. Here's a guy who, for some reason, I apologize if I gave you the idea that you should be afraid of sending me a free book from crying out loud. I hope I don't scare you. Send me your book. And so, but you overcame. You took action. Mm-hmm. You said, "What the heck? That jerk, bald guy, just take him," and you would have come up with a way to use that to your advantage. Mm-hmm. Heck, we got a president in the White House. Pretty much anyone that attacked him, he turned it into a positive, and people are saying that all the time. They said, "I don't know how." I can see by the clock a minute left.
Well,
which and all the glitches or anything got at.
Well, we'll see how it looks afterwards.
Maybe, place and take action on, and I don't know, the technology is a ringing endorsement of here. This begs to be transcribed, because I don't know anybody who could sit through all the glitches and freeze-ups that happen through this video. So this will perhaps be the first one that I fully transcribe and post somewhere. So Rob, thank you so much for being here. Thank you to Michelle, to Tim, to Phil, to everybody else that's putting in comments and likes and was here live, and anybody watching on the replay. I hope you all got a ton out of it. I hope you've already gone to Amazon.com and ordered Rob's newest book, and you can click whatever will give you notifications of every other one coming out. You've went to his Facebook pages, and you've joined his email list, and Rob, love you much for doing this. Cannot tell you more strongly what I feel about what you're doing to help small business owners. It's fantastic. On behalf of all of them, I thank you, and keep up the fantastic, awesome work.
Keep inspiring people, Steve. See ya.